Hello and welcome to BIO121, General Biology 1. I'm going to be your professor for this semester. My name is Dr. Beck. Our lecture is going to be online. It'll be asynchronous remote, meaning you can do it at your own pace. However, it should be done by the end of the week. So any time within that week, you can get those assignments done and listen to the lecture for the week. There are also fill-in-the-blank notes that go with each chapter so that you can follow along with the lecture and take notes as you go. Our labs have been split into two groups, Group A and Group B. They're going to meet at different times. They will both be meeting on Mondays. I should include that. Just like it says on WebAdvisor. You will find under important course documents on Blackboard which lab group that you'll be in. So you should check that and see which lab group you'll be in. For our first week for lab, we will not be meeting. So we will not be meeting on the 31st. When we do meet for lab, we will be in room 3620 in the Seneca wing. If you need to reach me, you can reach me at my email address that I've listed here. I don't have an office on campus, so if you want to meet with me in person, you can send me an email and we can get something worked out. Otherwise, we could meet on Zoom or on WebEx, whichever is more convenient. I'm more than willing to meet outside of normal class time. So you can read through the catalog description. There are no specific prerequisites or co-requisites, just remedial courses. Our learning outcomes are listed as well. As far as required materials, our textbook for the semester is online. So that's really exciting. It should be free. So you should be able to access the link. I've also posted the link under important course documents. There will also be a lab manual. It should be printed out and handed out as handouts, but that's to be announced. We'll see what the school wants to do as far as that's concerned. The grading scales listed. Our course breakdown, so we have exams. Those are going to be worth 30% of your grade. Any lab handouts, which every lab will have a lab handout, so to show you completed it and what you got out of the lab. That will be worth 20% of your grade. Homework and assignments will be 20%. Discussions will be worth 20%. And then participation and professionalism in the lab setting and in the lecture setting will both be 10%. As far as late assignments and exams, assignments are due by their due date. They're not accepted if they're late. If for some reason you have extenuating circumstances, you can submit one assignment late, or I'd be willing to work with you if you had to quarantine, you're not feeling well. I'm willing to work with you, just don't abuse this power. So you can submit one assignment late up to 2 weeks late. If you don't use this coupon to submit your assignment late, you can receive half a percentage point added to your total final grade at the end of the semester, which sounds like nothing, but really that could be the difference between you passing and not passing. I do not drop the lowest grade. I don't do makeups for tests, unless, of course, there's extenuating circumstances. If there are extenuating circumstances, the makeup has to be taken within 48 hours of the missed exam, or it will count as a 0. All assessments are going to be timed, so all of your tests, although they will be taken online on Blackboard, they will be timed according to how many questions there are, how much time that you should need. let me know if you have any accommodations, and I can set that time requirement on Blackboard as well. So that being said, you should not rely on notes or being able to look answers up online when you're taking your tests. You will likely run out of time and not be able to finish. So make sure that you still study and do the appropriate work. There will be weekly discussions. There are a couple exceptions where there's no discussion for the week, but most weeks have one discussion post. You should be making an original post for each discussion and responding to 3 classmates. So you have to do that by the start of the next week for credit. Your original post should be thoughtful, and most of the time they will have to be researched, which is the point of the discussions. It's to broaden your knowledge base. They should be original. You should not be plagiarizing or paraphrasing or direct quoting without any kind of citations. When you do research, you should cite them in the APA format and list the citations at the bottom of the discussion post. I do check each discussion post for plagiarism, so just be sure that you are not, and you're making sure that you have your appropriate citations. Otherwise, there will be no credit. Your original post should be at least a paragraph, 4 to 5 sentences in length. It should be thoughtful and researched if necessary. Your responses to classmates should also be thoughtful and considerate. You can say that you agree or disagree, but you should do so in a courteous and polite manner, and you should also state why you agree or disagree. Your responses to classmates should be 3 to 4 sentences in length. So for full credit, you should make your original post, respond to 3 classmates, and it should meet the length requirement for each post or response. So I have listed here some reasons why some students may receive no or partial credit, and that's including not meeting the length requirement, plagiarism, late posts, not responding to classmates, and not answering the prompt to completion. Late posts will also get no credit. So I do check for attendance just to see if you're logging on to Blackboard every week, if you're getting work done. If you are submitting work and I see that you're active on Blackboard, attendance is counted. You don't have to be online at a specific time. Attendance in lab is also expected. You will not be able to complete the experiments because most of them take multiple weeks. So if you miss 1 week of lab, likely you'll be very behind and not be able to participate in most of the experiments. And that will result in a huge deduction from your lab grade. So it's really important that you attend class, attending the labs that are in person and face-to-face. If you're going to be late or not be able to attend lab for some reason, please let me know and we can work something out. Maybe I can send you the course materials, or you can do a virtual lab so that you don't fall behind. Of course, if you become quarantined for reasons of COVID or for some other reason like measles, there will be a virtual way of completing your courses. You just have to let me know and send me a doctor's note. We already spoke a little bit about plagiarism, but you have to submit work of your own creation. That includes cheating and not being able to distinguish your answers from someone else's. So if I get multiple tests that have the same short answer response, you will all get a 0. So it's really important that everything is of your own creation, your posts, your responses to everything. This information doesn't really apply to us since we won't be doing any in-person tests. That being said, when you are in the laboratory setting, there are chemicals and everything in there. We will talk a lot about lab safety. You should not be on your phone or having your phone out in general because they can come in contact with chemicals, and you should be participating. And as I have said before, any type of plagiarism will get a 0. No exceptions. So, my expectations of you. You should be asking questions and participating in class. So if you have questions on the lecture, if you have questions in lab, if you don't feel comfortable asking me them in class, in lab, absolutely send me an email. I'm really quick to respond with emails, so I'm more than happy to walk you through things. If there's a concept that you're not understanding, I'm more than willing to meet with you, either in person or online through Zoom or through WebEx, to explain that concept to you. You should be doing the readings for each chapter. Exam questions can come from both the lectures that I give and the book, so make sure you're reading along with the book. The book is super helpful and really easy to understand, so it will provide a really good supplemental resource when you're going through and listening to the lecture. I recommend reading the chapter before listening to the lecture. It will make so much more sense that way. Be sure to take notes so that you're staying engaged. I know that sometimes listening to lectures isn't the most exciting thing in the whole world, and it can be easy to get distracted, especially from a remote setting. So it's really important that you're taking notes and staying active, both in your reading and while you're listening to the lecture. It really helps to cement those ideas in your mind. So on top of filling in the blank in the notes, you should also be writing notes, along the margins for things that I'm saying, because, listening to the voiced over lecture is kind of key for you doing well in this class, because I do not read straight off the slides. You will need to listen to the lecture to get all of the necessary materials. So be sure to take notes. I digress. Be sure to proofread any assignments that you're submitting. For full credit, you should have proper grammar and spelling. And when we're in the classroom setting, refrain from being disruptive. That includes using your phone, sleeping, arriving late, being disrespectful, or not working on class material. If you are repeatedly being disruptive, that results in a 5% deduction from your participation grade. And that being said, with cell phones, they should be on silent and not in your workspace, especially in the lab. They should be stowed away. The exam part doesn't really apply here because, again, they're going to be remote and not in person. So that's up to you entirely. But if you use your phone during lab unnecessarily 10 times over the course of the semester, you'll get a 0 for a participation grade. It's really, really important to keep those stowed away, unless we're using them for some reason, but typically we're not because of the laboratory setting. So let's talk a little bit about being on campus. So when you're entering the facility, you have to wear a face mask. No exceptions. Unless, of course, you have some health reason, in which case you have to bring that to student health. If you are unable to wear a mask, you will be given a face shield to wear as an alternative, so that's entirely up to you. Regardless, you will have a face covering. Be sure to not share your face coverings with anybody else. Of course, that kind of takes away the purpose of wearing a mask in the first place. When you wear masks, you should keep them clean and wash them on a regular basis to be sure that they're actually effective for you and they're not spreading any possible diseases or viruses to others. So you can read through the college policies. As for academic and support services, there are tutoring services. I believe they're also online, so you can talk to an online librarian if you need to, and she can schedule services for you for tutoring. There's also the incubator. It's on the 3rd floor in the science wing, Seneca 3660. There's also free tutoring services there, and it's specific to biology. So you can ask for a specific tutor for biology. They can help you out. You definitely can't learn this material the night before the exam. It tends to be a little heavy. So the incubator is really helpful. You can grab a schedule and they'll work with you. So, of course, any of this may change depending on how long we are allowed to stay in person for a lecture or for classes. After Thanksgiving, we're likely to go back to remote, so our labs will be remote starting then. So let's go over to our tracking calendar and take a look at it. So it's separated by weeks and by lab and lecture. Your assignments are on this right-hand side, and these are the assignments that are assigned every week. So all of these assignments will be due the following week. Any lab assignments that are assigned will be due by your following lab. If your following lab is a virtual lab, then I will put a Dropbox online for you to submit them to. If it's an in-person lab, you can submit them in person. All of your assignments for the lecture portion of the course should be submitted by the following week. So our weeks are going to start on Mondays. So any lecture assignments should be submitted by Sunday, 11:59 p.m., the day before the start of the new week. So lecture assignments are in green and blue here, discussions and homeworks. They will also include exams. I will post more information about exams as they come. And then lab assignments are in purple. So you'll see that I have in purple on the lab side when we're meeting virtually, so you don't have to come to class or to campus for those labs. I will also send out reminders to let you know when you don't have to come to campus. So you guys should be following this really carefully. Make sure that you're submitting assignments on time. You can even check them off as you go along to make sure that you know that you've submitted them. And otherwise, if you have any questions, just let me know. You can look under important course documents to see where what time you come in for lab. I will see you guys in person starting September 7th. So I'll see you guys then for lab. Otherwise, good luck in your first week of classes.